The ICook Foods drama continues to be a stain on Victoria's and Australia's reputation. And now, the victims of the unresolved Sluggate saga have compiled a dossier that they say points to secret deals, dodgy financial records, and police interference in the matter. And joining us today to speak to us is Ian Cook again, the Director of ICook Foods. Morning, Ian.
Good morning, Michael.
So this dossier, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so we've put together a whole heap of information. Anybody who reads the Herald Sun will have read Andrew Rule's article on Sunday. Also, his podcast discusses in detail. Now, Andrew also went out and got some of his own information from his own contacts, I believe, but he did interview us and discuss it. What we have is we have financials. Now, these aren't guesswork from us. These financials and the documents that we've put together are documents that were board documents. So these documents were given to the board of Community Chef. And these documents show financials with millions of dollars just simply disappearing. We have accounts that show huge sums paid for jobs that don't require it. And then to top it all off, when you overlay, things that you can put like for like a food cost, etc., you come up with a situation where either Community Chef was the world's worst managed, worst run food business, or someone was tickling the till. You can't really talk about much else. Now, the other thing that people need to really keep in mind about this is that through the whole existence of this organisation, you and I have spoken before about millions of dollars lost, the top up of money continuously from Andrew's state government to prop them up, etc., etc. That's the amount that's gone missing that was lost, supposedly on the trading the way it is now. Remember, at the same time, they were receiving $2, $3, $4 per meal. Now, they were making 700,000, 800,000 meals a year. So they were getting federal subsidies to the tune of millions of dollars a year, which was also being lost. So anyone runs an argument, oh, we did it because we're helping the elderly, etc. If all of that money hadn't been wasted and lost, all that federal subsidy hadn't been wasted and lost, how many more people could you have helped? And we have a situation where you've just got to say, where did all this money go? We can show that it's gone, and we can show that it looks that it won't pass the pub test. And where I would say and make the allegation that money has been stolen from Community Chef. Where did it go? Don't know, but it went. And right at the end, they get a final injection of $3 million in cash, which no one can account for.
Just before it falls over.
Just before, before it's taken back over by the director. So the very department that takes it over also gives the company that it's about to take over for almost nothing, it gives them $3 million and it just disappears.
At the moment, Ian, it's really got to stick in your craw, I imagine, the media coverage of how bad the food has been, on how little they were spending in aged care. And Maggie Beer's done some video content to help the cooks, and you had, just the best food for our elderly people, and they've shut you down.
Yes, so let's put that in perspective too. The contracts we had, and a couple of the contracts in particular, we were required on a survey to achieve better than 90 or 95% satisfaction. So if you imagine a survey that's got 1 to 5, well, on the good, very good, so it could be good, very good being 4 and 5, which is your 90, 95%. We were achieving that all the time. If we didn't, our contract, there were penalties in the contract for it. Now, that on survey, one particular contract would put out 400 surveys to 400 elderly people receiving the meals that we had and that we were doing. And we were getting better than 95%. And in fact, the small percentage that we didn't get was often because of diet meals, you know, texture modified, those sorts of things, when you've seen all the horror photos on TV about that. But that's why we developed, which ended up being patented, our patented texture modified, where we took texture modified, so pureed food or minced moist food, and we reformed it back into exactly the shape of the food it started with, so that people could dine with dignity and not just have slop in front of them.
Yeah. Now, Albanese went to the election promising a federal ICAC or integrity commission. Do you think, what hope do you hold out that this will actually eventuate, and will it look into these matters?
I think it has to eventuate. I mean, I just think about it. If the guy doesn't institute it now, then the media, everyone will come baying for his blood, saying, "Hang on, this was one of the key planks." So there were lots of things he didn't say, but this was one of the things he definitely said he was going to do. So that's number one. As has been said before, the devil's in the detail. Is it going to have teeth? Is it going to be able to force people to come and talk, like a royal commission, etc.? That's what it has to have. It has to have those sorts of powers. And I would go one step more. I would say it has to have the powers to either force or recommend, not just recommend prosecution, but force prosecutions where they find wrongdoing, whether it's federal or related back to states. A lot of state laws can also be covered by federal, and that's what you would be looking for, a way to make sure that people are held to account, not just talked about wrongdoing.
Yeah, we've recently seen the Auditor General point out that Andrews had spent, I think it was $13 million of taxpayers' money on political advertising, and Andrews' response was, "So I wouldn't have to do it if Morrison had given us money." It's
I think
astounding.
That's even one step worse from Andrews, because from memory, Andrews actually said, "Oh, well, that's an opinion." Well, the Auditor General is not an opinion. The Auditor General is the Auditor General. He gets all the information in. When he says this is something that's happening, he didn't just guess it. He got it because he had the evidence to go and do it. The ability of Andrews to put spin and to lie directly into the camera is a very worrying trait. You know what? If you said to me, what is Daniel Andrews good at? He is good at looking at a camera and absolutely lying, but doing it incredibly convincingly. You know, "Mum, I didn't take the cookie out of the barrel. I counted them. I'm sure you miscount them." You know, it's that sort of thing. And that's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. And and I'm not going to apologise for taking the cookie for Victoria, because I'm going to get on doing this for Victoria, because Victorians, that's what they elected me to do. Well, no, we didn't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, that's right. I had to do it. Look, I know this is hurting, but I had to do it. I'm sorry. You just have to accept that I know. Now, hopefully the electorate is going to start seeing through all of this, and we're certainly not going away. We're going to make sure that we are front and centre with everything and stuff like it. And you know what? When you have respected journalists like Andrew Rule coming out and doing their own investigation, coming back and saying, yes, the stuff, he made it, you know, he doesn't accept stuff from us. He comes out and says, "Ian, if you're going to say that, tell me how you know it, and then show me." So he's got the documents. He's got that stuff there in front of him. And it's that legitimacy on anything that we do that hopefully resonates with people before they vote this year. And I've never, you know what, Michael, in my whole life, I have never been a political activist or anything like that. But I can't see this state of play continuing in Victoria. You know, Victoria used to be a well-respected state for integrity with the police, for integrity in its judicial systems, for integrity of its senior bureaucracy. And, you know, whether it's us, whether it's red shirts, whether it's a myriad of the other issues that have popped up, you've got to say that we don't have that reputation anymore.
Yeah. Well, when you've also got Calgary, one of Australia's, not only Victoria's, but Australia's most respected chief commissioners of police, coming out and saying the level of criminality within your matter, within Sluggate, is something he's never seen before in his life.
Yeah, so let's put that in perspective as well. And this is, and I don't want to sound like I'm hammering or labouring the point or whatever, but once again, Kel Blair, when he first heard about it, contacted us and said he would like to know more. He came in. He didn't come out and say the things that he said to you and that he said to other media outlets just off the top of his head. He came in and he sat down at our board table. He said, okay, I want to see the allegations that you make against these officers and against Sutton, etc. I want you to show me the evidence you have. And we had